Getting that autism diagnosis can feel like finish the crossing line and starting a marathon at the same time. You finally has clarity, but now you're hit with what to do next. Who do I call? What do I apply for? The doctor just told me a lot of acronyms that I don't remember or understand. And my friends and family just give me so many ideas. It's a lot. In this video, I will walk you through the first things to cover right after the diagnosis. We'll focus on owning the practical things to do. I have a whole nother video on mindset. Watch that one if you haven't. It could help you get through the process we're going to go through. It's totally normal to feel overwhelmed and anxious at the moment, but the more we action on it, the easier it will get. These are the actions that works in principle anywhere, but I will cover some specific ones for Ontario, Canada, because that's where I live. First, get on the wait list for funding from the government, any government, federal, provincial, state. This funding, depending on where you are, can have a wait list for years. I mean, literally years. I've heard stories about kids grow out of the funding age eligibility. They finally got funding, but now they're over 18 years old. They don't need it anymore. In Ontario, Canada, this is the must-haves. Register for OAP, Ontario Autism Program. This is the official funding that can help you for so many different types of therapies, devices, all the way till the kid reaches adulthood, reaches 18. The sign-up can take 20-30 minutes, but the lineup can take multiple years. I've called OAP many times just to ask for a waitlist ETA, and the nice lady on the other hand was telling me, I'm so sorry, there is no way to tell you about the ETA because it depends on which government is in control and what policy we're having at the moment, which tells me that the waitlist is longer than the election period, 4 years. In 2024, there are over 50,000 of children still on the wait list for OAP, and it keeps growing. However, once you register, you'll get a number, and this number is your OAP number that will go with you the whole time and helps you when you sign up for any therapy or even the school program. And you will get information from OAP, free programs to apply for while you're waiting. If you're in the other province, there's similar programs like the Autism Funding Program in BC, FSCD in Alberta. If you're in the United States, there's Medicaid. I'll link all of them in the comments. First thing first, get a funding lineup. Second thing I would suggest that you do right away is to find a pediatrician or a family doctor that truly understands autism. You need someone who doesn't just see the diagnosis, but understand how to support your whole child. This is essential and has to happen early because they can open so many doors. They can be the gatekeeper for government fundings, for referrals, therapy, school notes. They can help document needs, track progress, and guide long-term care. Also, they may notice other symptoms that often go together with autism, like ADHD. They have worked with so many neurodivergent kids that they understand what is typical, what needs to pay attention to. You know what's coming up. Some general pediatrician or family doctor, they just don't have the deep experience for ASD children, which can delay care. Number 3 is to apply for other financial support. So other than the main funding, there's many other smaller but also used for funding depending on where you live. In Ontario, for example, you can apply for special service at home, which is a funding for respite type of care, which means someone can come to your home and help you. It also has a very long lineup, so get on the wait list early. While OAP doesn't have any requirements for family income, this special service at home has a soft requirements for family income. So depending on your income level, the amount of funding you will be granted can vary. There's another one that we can also apply. Is called Assistance for Children with Severe Disability. I know the name sounds quite scary, but this funding does require a lower income, generally under 76,000 Canadian dollars. I know the word severe sounds quite dramatic, but it doesn't mean the severeness in autism. It just means how much support they need. So if your child requires a lot of support at home, like for self-care, for safety, for going through their day-to-day activities at home, you can apply for it. It doesn't mean your child is severely disabled. It just means they need a lot of support. Think about it this way. If you're in other provinces, there's similar programs like in British Columbia, there's at-home program. In Manitoba, there's Children with Disability Service. And if you're in the United States, there's Medicaid waivers in every state with different criteria. Third, I would highly recommend is tax credit. In Ontario, you can get disability tax credit from CRA. Even if you haven't done it in the previous years, you can still apply for this tax credit once for all, and you will get the refund every year, including the previous years. Highly recommend. You will need your family doctor or your pediatrician to fill in part of the form. It's a lot of work for a one-time job, but it really helps. Number 4, after we sort out the financial side of things, now it's time to put your name on the local therapy providers list. It will take some time to find a good one for your child because it depends on what you or your child prefers. There are huge variations on how each of these centers practice their therapy. So make sure you call them, you visit the center, you visit their website, you understand their strategy and policies before you sign them up. I have called all of the local therapists and I was shocked on how some of the centers were telling me. One of them said, don't worry, you just need to drop off your kid in the morning, take her up in the late afternoon. Don't worry about anything. But then you cannot go in. You don't see what happens. You don't have any visibility whatsoever. And they made it sound like a military training. It's pretty crazy. So be mindful, be careful, pay attention to what kind of therapy method they will use. I know you've probably heard applied behavior analysis, ABA. There's so many different types of ABA out there, and many of the traditional ABA were criticized in recent years because they mostly are training the autistic children to be normal, to suppress who they are instead of understand who they are. It just makes the neurotypical people around them feel better instead of the neurodivergent child themselves. Thankfully, most of these type of ABA are already phased out in most of the places, not in that military place I just mentioned. So just be mindful that not all the ABA are the same. Look for keywords like child-led, strengths-based, play-based, relationship-centered, emotional safety, supports, autonomy, self-advocacy. Those kind of keywords are a good indicator that they're practicing the more modern type of ABA that helps the children instead of suppress them. And also always make sure the provider you're going in is listed on the official provider list from either the funding or the government or the institution. In Ontario, for example, there's the Ontario Association for Behavior Analysis, or ONTABA. They're the official body that would issue a BCBA certificate. So if someone claims they're board certified, they need to be listed. Another type of therapy I would highly recommend is, in fact, I would say, I think it's mandatory for us and for any caregiver to the autistic child, because ultimately this is not about the child has to change. It's the environment has to change. We're the center of our child's support team. We need to understand the theory and apply it to their behavior to understand them better. So many of those therapy centers, they also offer parent network or caregiver seminars, no matter what the format is. It just helps you go through both the theory and practical examples. I would in fact say we need to have a universal curriculum for caregivers to go through. Whenever a child is diagnosed for autism, everyone should go through a curriculum to meet the basic level of understanding to be eligible on the support team. Of course, that's just not practical in reality, but I would hope and advocate that we have this kind of structure for our society. Other than autism-specific therapy, there's also 2 other types of therapy that can be helpful depending on the needs of your child. The first one is speech and language therapy. This kind of therapy is especially helpful for nonverbal autistic child. It helps improve the communication skills even if they're verbal. They can teach them social conventions or provide alternative communication for nonverbal autistic children. Another type of therapy is occupational therapy. They support sensory skills, daily living routine, and motion skills. They are sometimes overlooked, but they're super useful to recognize certain behaviors and provide them the sensory support that's needed. Both of these therapies are sometimes offered by the public school as well. You can get them from the school for a very short window, but they can provide you some directions, and then you can decide if you need more in-depth sessions. Number 5 is to notify the school. The bigger the support team is, the better your child can thrive. Many public schools has programs for special needs children. For example, in Ontario, there's IEP, Individual Educational Plan, and Special Education Resource Teachers, or CERT. CERT is going to be your best friend. They can help you to find so many resources in school, even out of school in the community, because their job is to figure out all the different support they can provide to special needs children. Talk to the CERT, develop an IEP so that your children can get what they need in school early. Finally, find support community to feel connected. At this point, you probably met some parents in the parent learning seminars, and all of these are tip of the iceberg of the local community. You can find more people going through the same journey even on Facebook. Some very active Facebook groups can give you tons of ideas and resources. I know all of this takes a lot of time, probably extra time that you've budgeted for parenting. There's a lot to do, but you don't have to do them all at once. Get funding lined up and one step at a time. It's a journey where constant learning happens and every autistic child is different. So there is no manual. It's a beautiful canvas for us to paint our own stories. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. If you feel overwhelmed, that's okay. I made another video just to talk about the mindset at this stage that helped me in the early days, and hopefully it can be helpful for you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.